So what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Robert. If this is your first time tuning in, so as you can tell from the thumbnail, the question I'm kind of answering today is a college education even worth it today? So this gets asked quite a bit, usually on social media, even friends and family. We kind of have these conversations back and forth, and most people actually believe college education is not necessarily as important for most people that I've talked with. And I tend to agree as well. I don't think college education is as important as it used to be years ago. Say for those of you watching, for our parents. For our parents, it was a big deal to go to college and get a college degree. You know, typically there was more chances of you succeeding in life if you had a college education. I know I was pushed for, not necessarily pushed, but I was encouraged to go to school. In the end, the decision was up to me if I really wanted to go or not. I did go, did graduate, but it was something that I was taught, and it was something that I was told would be good for me. So I'm glad I did in the end. You know, I don't regret it. It did, I guess, open up some doors if I really wanted to, but I think it's also important to, if you are going to go to school, to get a degree or an education that is higher paying and in higher demand, and something that is generally going to create more income for you. So there's a lot of people that go and get, you know, philosophy degrees, reading degrees, history degrees. There's all different types of degrees. Not saying you can't get a job with that, but the chances are a lot lower. Psychology degrees, there's a bunch of them, and not dissing all of those, but gosh dang, these spider webs, man. The chances of getting, you know, jobs for everyone who has those degrees is a lot lower versus somebody who majors in technology, math, and science. You know, there's a little bit more room and a little bit more opening for getting a job if you have a degree in those fields versus those other ones. So if I'm going to go be a doctor, I'd want my doctor to have a college education. I would like for him to have a degree. You know, in the end, he's working on someone's body, right? He's going to be kind of determining if somebody lives or dies, for lack of a better word, right? So it'd be nice if the doctor, is trained and educated on the anatomy of the body, how the body works, and all that good stuff. So there are some degrees that I think that are important, like being a doctor, being a lawyer, things like that. Yeah, I think it's a good idea to go get an education. If you're just going to be, you know, most people don't even use their degrees. A lot of people that go to college don't actually use the degree. So like for me, for instance, I'm not using my degree right now. I did in the past, but not currently. So there's a lot of people that do that as well, that don't use the degree. And I am seeing more jobs that do not require a 4-year degree anymore. I know Elon has a lot of jobs where you know, they don't necessarily require an education. So I do think that they become less and less irrelevant. Now again, college isn't for everyone, and we know that. So if you're going to school just so you can become successful, it's not necessarily needed. There are plenty of other ways to become successful without going 4 years to school, or even more for a master's or a PhD. There's a lot more ways to make money other than just school or getting an education or a degree. So something that is becoming more and more popular now, maybe it wasn't so popular back then, it's kind of looked down upon, is kind of like blue collar jobs with technical certifications, whether that's HVAC, whether that's, if you don't know what HVAC is, it's kind of like working with air conditioners and heating equipment, electrical, plumbing, welding, mechanics, any of these hands-on jobs that were kind of looked down upon, you know, years ago, are now making a comeback a little bit more, because we kind of have a shortage of those positions, of those people that know how to do those jobs. Maybe there may be there's not a whole lot of people that know how to do all those things, so they're in higher demand. I saw an article the other day that said the new multimillionaires are going to be plumbers, electricians, and all these people that I just mentioned. And again, that's because they're paying more for these jobs too. If you want a plumber to come out to your house, typically it starts around 50 bucks an hour, if not more, depending on the demand in your area and how many plumbers you have in the area. Electricians are the same way. It's very expensive to get an electrician out there. So again, you can make good money without going to school for 4 years and getting a college education. You can go to a trade school, get your welding degree or welding certificate, and you can start working the oil pipelines here in South Texas. There's different ways to do it to make good money without having to go to school for 4 years and study, you know, the books. It's very different from going to a technical school. I did do a little bit of both. Obviously I finished college, which is way different than going to welding classes. So I took welding classes in high school where you get dual credits for college while you're still a high school student. It's very, very different. There was people in there that were obviously much older, not in high school. And then there was people like myself that were still in high school. But it's very different than what college is for most people. And a lot of people don't like the college setting where you're just sitting down, listening and learning, writing down notes and things like that. They prefer to be doing hands-on stuff, which is kind of what the welding classes are. And I assume mechanics and all these other trade crafts are similar in that way as well. So two very different ways of learning, two very different classes or class types. And again, one's not for everybody. I definitely enjoyed more of the hands-on welding stuff. That was fun for me, maybe because I'm a guy. I like that kind of stuff too, versus college. College was just book smart, taking notes, listening, and just being still and taking notes, being still, taking notes, being still, taking notes, and then taking a test. Welding was the quite opposite. They would show you an example of a typical weld for whatever we were welding. Then you had to go back to your station and go learn how to do it as well. They would explain the machines to us, how to regulate the oxygen, the acetylene, everything. Very different, you know, it was very hands-on versus going to school and college and you had to, you know, just listen to the teacher and take your notes and take your test. Very, very different. So yeah, I know a lot of welders make good money, and I know a lot of plumbers make good money as well, electricians. They all make really, really good money. They aren't struggling. They charge quite a bit, but it's also, you're paying for their experience as well. So see, I don't think college education is necessary anymore to be successful, but there are fields that you can definitely study in to put yourself in a better position. And again, those are going to be like your math, your sciences, and your technical schools, or your techie schools, computer programming, science and biology, and mathematics. Those are all going to be necessary for the future. But if you don't want to do any of those and you are thinking about maybe going for philosophy or something else, there's other ways to make money if you just think you need to get a degree. And you're going to be getting a lower quality degree in the workplace, right? So welding, HVAC, electricians, plumbers, any of those hands-on tech schools will be just as good if you're just worried about making good money. So yeah, without further ado, be careful, be good, take care, and God bless. See you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.